She used to be a bike mechanic, and she owns 10 bikes, which I am complete envy of. I want to get up to your level of bikiness. Hopefully I will do that someday soon. So everyone, both a double round of applause, both for just being a regular speaker, but also being a fill-in speaker and helping us out so much. Thank you very much, Catherine.
Stretch your teeth like I nailed it. Ride moving slow like a creep. Shirt in the breeze like I'm sailing.
So today I'm talking about why NYR. So Jared mentioned this, but I've been attending this conference for a while, so since 2015 or 2016. And I guess if I were to speak to something that I care about deeply, but can also throw together a talk on very quickly, it would be something like this. But yeah, first of all, I just wanted to, I'm standing in for Heather Knowles, who is fantastic, and you should follow her on Twitter. And also hope that she gets better soon. But today I will be your substitute teacher, talking about my experience with the NYR community and more generally, kind of the ways that it's helped me grow within my career. And yeah, so priorities first. So I got called in as, let me try to, I got called in to share about this. I'm trying to bring my shirt into view. I ran a quick Twitter poll on what shirt I should wear, and I have quite a collection. So I'm starting, this one won by majority, my Crazy Rich Bayesian shirt that I got at a different conference, but it's pretty great. And we'll hear more about this next. But anyway, so a little bit about me. I am standing in today, so I apologize if this is a bit scattered, but I'm a proud New Yorker, and I have been attending the NYR conferences for 5 years now, and I've also been living in New York my whole life. In addition to that, I currently am the head of data science at Codecademy. Before that, I was at JetBlue and New York sports clubs. And yeah, I'm trying to make sure my shirt stays in view. See that? Okay. So fun facts about me. I adopted 2 rescue cats during quarantine, and I've named them Mu and Sigma after the normal distribution, because that's what you do when you're a statistician. And as Jared shared, I'm also a former bike mechanic, and Jared actually regularly texts me for bike help, and he'll just send me pictures of his bike. And you should also, quick plug, join this Data Bikers group, where we do fun things. Lately, not so much, but we still share photos of our rides. And yeah, I guess, so the idea of this talk kind of came around of, like, if I were to give a quick last minute talk, right, this is the thesis of it, I kind of came in, I found this tweet from last year, and I kind of came into the NYR community and stumbled upon it as like a conference attendee back in 2016. And the following year, Jared invited me back to actually give a talk. And from there, I found increasingly ways to become more involved, culminating in getting Codecademy, my employer, to help sponsor this conference in this community. So yeah, no solid agenda, but this is the rough thesis of what I'll be talking about. So I'll break this into parts, and I think part 1, and I know a lot of us feel this as well, of, you know, attending my first data science conference and more generally kind of, you know, trying to find community within my career and feeling a lot of loneliness and imposter syndrome. And a lot of this, oh, I did want to start this by saying I do want to apologize to Andrew Gilman, because I made a poke at him for not having slides ever, but he did have slides back in 2016. And he also told us that Trump might get elected, and we all ignored him, so. But anyway, 2016, what else was going on besides Trump? I, at the time, was working at JetBlue, a really large corporate company, and I'm sure many of you might still be in this position. These bags are for my cats. Might still be in this position, but when I worked for JetBlue, I was the sole kind of data person working on this non-data science team in this large company, and it was just really lonely. So I stumbled upon NYR and was off to my first NYR conference. And I kind of reactivated my Twitter for this. I wasn't heavy on Twitter at the time. And I kind of have quick statistics on my own end of my imposter syndrome, I would say, was at an all-time high. I didn't have any nerdy R friends to kind of talk to about stuff that I was thinking about or interested in or working on. And going back to the R community, I think I was really intrigued by it, but I wasn't really involved in it. So after the conference, again, I'd attended the New York R conference for the first time, and I was pretty excited. I tweeted a lot throughout and was just kind of really happy about all the stories I had about, going out and getting food with Vivian, who designed a lot of that really awesome artwork, and Dan, who gave that great talk earlier today, and kind of meeting Jared and his dad, and hearing about our bike ladies and cats and whatnot. And it was just really warm and welcoming. And I think to me, it felt like I was starting to make our friends, so it was pending. And Jared kind of coming up to me and saying like, oh, hey, like, nice to meet you, never having met him before. And kind of very quickly being like, you should come back and give a talk. Helped me with my imposter syndrome a bit, which is still pretty bad, but I would say it started to make me feel like I had a community. So part 2, 2017. So big gap, 2016, 2017, a lot happened in the world too. And I would say, I kind of thought that Jared was going to forget about the invite. But sure enough, a few months before the 2017 conference, he had reached out and, was like, don't forget about the invitation. You're still invited to speak. And I was ready to share some knowledge. So I do want to pause here, and I have a weird gimmicky thing, but anyway, I couldn't decide on the shirts. So here was the next shirt that I have, which, fun fact, bigger than big R, or bigger than big data. I won at my first New York R conference in 2016. Jared threw it to me in the audience. My grandma once asked me what big data is when she saw me wearing this shirt, and I was like, don't worry, Grandma, nobody knows. Anyway, 2017, ready-ish to share some knowledge. So I was back and ready to give a talk on airline data. And my imposter syndrome, again, was still pretty bad. But I kind of came into the room and was like, whoa, I actually recognize a few people. And Jared came up to me, a few people I met last year, and throughout the monthly meetups came up to me. And I kind of realized that the R community is something special and draws people, including myself, back and back again. I gave a talk, and it was really exciting. And I think looking back on these pictures, I look so happy, but in many ways I was so terrified, especially when I saw that my photo was up next to Gelman's, and I was just like, oh no, Jared, why would you do this to me? But it did a lot, and I think it just helped me grow a lot within my career, and also just helped with my confidence, and I learned so much. So post-conference talk 2017, the community was so kind and so welcoming. Number of nerdy R friends, I made a few. And giving back to the R community, I just felt really grateful for the knowledge sharing. And I kind of noticed that throughout the conference in 2017, I was just like, okay, I'm a speaker, people are coming up to me. I feel compelled to make people who are coming to this community for the first time or new data scientists feel welcome as well. So that was my way of giving back at the time. And I won another shirt. So this is, this is so dumb. All right. So I got this shirt, which is pretty cool. Although all of the data things. All right. So in 2017, two big things happened. I spoke at New York R, and I think in building that confidence, right, and building, just kind of a network and learning more about data science and feeling like I keep coming back to confidence, but building that confidence to kind of start looking at new teams and careers. I started a new job actually with Codecademy. And I knew at the time that, I really, really love the programming community and open source, and, Code Academy in many ways had that same spirit. So, all right, what happened next? So giving back to the community. So between 2018 to 2019, I just found myself feeling more and more embedded in the conference. I think I keep saying Meetup, but so the NYR conference also hosts a monthly meetup that is, normally we convene in person, and there's pizza and there's people and there's good talks and whatnot. So I kept going back to that community and finding my own ways to contribute. And I gave more talks. So I gave a talk about forecasting with time series data at the meetup, which was a little bit scary in that the meetup talk was a lot longer than my conference talk. And yeah, it was pretty exciting. If you want to look for this online, just quick plug, remember to vote. I gave a talk on anomaly detection, talked about, oh, right, okay, next shirt switch. So really love the tidyverse. And this is, I don't know if you can see this one. This one is, I think, therefore, IR. I think, I mean, I feel like it should be IR, therefore, I think, because, you know, use R responsibly, especially with voting data. But anyway, I digress. And I also made more friends. So between 2018 to 2019, Our Ladies, we heard Luda give a great talk on this, started in 2017, the second year I was attending the conference as a speaker, and it was great to kind of watch that community grow and grow. So if you're looking at these photos, I really love this GIF, just watching that network grow and just feeling like there was a community of people who could motivate each other and learn from each other and celebrate each other. That was really amazing to see. And yeah, like how many shirts do I have left? Oh, right, and going back to this last slide, I also made friends. You know, like I talk about learning from these people, but in many ways we were just friends at the end of the day. And we went on bike rides together, we ate pizza together, we, Taz, Jared, and a few of us biked to like New World Mall to eat soup dumplings together. And it was just, yeah, the community was so great. And I brought a friend, so you know, the community was so awesome that I was like, you know what, more people need to know about this. So I tell people about the NYR community all the time, other data scientists in my network, and also with Sebastian and Luda, I'm also part of a nerdy data science couple. So my partner also, I recruited him to come speak, even though he's not an R user. And I got to use this XKCD joke about statistically significant others. But yeah, in many ways, I just really just wanted to help expand the network of the R community and also just introduce more people to it to say, like, look how great this is. Sometimes data science and like machine learning jobs are so, you're so back of office that it's hard to, you just work in silos a lot of the time, and it just helps to learn and kind of hear from other people, even if you're just kind of commiserating about the same thing. And by 2019, so 2019 and this year, I got Code Academy to become involved in sponsoring the NYR conference. So open source and events like the NYR conference happen through partnerships and sponsorships and organizations who benefit from things like R and programming communities and their support. So last year we tabled in person. And we had, we're still in the program again this year, but last year we got a chance to meet all of you in person. Here's Ian is a member of the data science team, and Natalia wrote a lot of our great R curriculum. And yeah, we found ways to get involved and give back, and it felt like it was fully coming full circle. So in summary, I guess, the ways that I've been able to contribute to the NYR community, wait, okay. I think this is the last shirt. All right, NYR, I have many of these shirts. The color switches up every year, so here's part of my I went to the R Studio conference, by the way, and I ran into some folks from the NBA who immediately saw my New York R shirt and were like, whoa. So anyway, and that was in California a couple of years ago. But ways to contribute to the community, show up to conferences and Meetup. Just being there, right? You're contributing, you're kind of providing momentum. If you can, if you want to, join the conversation online on things like data science Twitter. I really love the data science community because I think this concept of like kind experts is just really prevalent when you think about people like Hadley Wickham, right? Like there's just this culture within the R community that's just very kind and open to sharing information and knowledge and, you know, making things accessible. So I think in that spirit of that, I think other ways that I try to contribute to is nominating other speakers, especially if they're first-time speakers, just because it did so much for my career and my confidence in imposter syndrome. And remembering to give thanks to the people who kind of put a lot of time and energy into the community, and, you know, becoming and being a kind expert yourself. And if you can, find ways to sponsor open source initiatives, whether it's finding ways to partner with your employer or finding ways to give a talk or contributing to open source development, find a way to help out with open source. So kind of circling back to this tweet, right? Where am I today? I would say my imposter syndrome, it never quite goes away, but it does get better. So there's still some flare-ups from time to time, but it's much better these days, and I mean it. And nerdy R friends, I have too many to count. It's just, we're all virtual right now, and I still feel a lot of comfort, and I feel like this is one of the highlights of quarantine, just kind of seeing a lot of familiar faces, even if it's virtual. And giving back to the R community, I mentioned, it feels like fully coming full circle from being really nervous about going to my first R conference and attending it, to speaking, to becoming a sponsor. And I say the word sponsor in that there are many, many ways you can sponsor. And final few minutes, so just quick logistical things. Codecademy, I wish we could be there to meet you all in person. Last year we were there with some cool demos of like our online learning platform on text analysis. So this is kind of what we showed last year of like NLP knows that language wars are not something positive. We're all friends here, so R or Python. But if you want to learn about things like this, feel free to join us at codecademy.com, and we put together a special discount code, New York R 2020, that will get you 15% off a pro membership. And oh, right, last shirt. Okay, this is the last one, and we are hiring. So codecademy.com/careers. Here is a non-comprehensive photo of the data science team at one of our recent stand-ups. I just think of like some of the many, many ways that I've benefited and kind of made use of the community. I actually met Michael at our monthly New York R, at the monthly New York R meetup last year, actually at Luda's talk, I believe. And he works with us now on the data science team. And Camelia is giving her first New York R conference talk tomorrow, having just moved from San Francisco and being inducted into the New York R community. And that screenshot down there is just an example of like the cool data we get to work with, just learning about programming and yeah, kind of languages and whatnot. If you're a nerd like us, come join us. And that's it. Yeah, this was a lot. This was really fun, just reflecting on just meeting all of you and all of you who I haven't met yet, and just kind of the feeling of being together even when we're apart. Like I said, I think this is one of my highlights of quarantine, even if I had to put together a very last minute talk. But don't forget to tune in tomorrow. We have more talks coming. And yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter or GitHub, or if you have questions, I think I'm going to be around in some Q&A room. I'm not sure. Oh, I guess the Codecademy booth, I'll be there at some point today and tomorrow. And that's a wrap for me. I think I kick it back to Jared.
Thank you so much, Catherine, for filling in for us. And that was an excellent talk. I'm glad that I could have been a part of your journey. It was really excellent seeing you come from a nervous attendee to someone here who could fill in at the last minute for us. It's amazing seeing that. So thank you so much on so many levels.